Hello everyone and welcome back to another My Time at Portia guide. Today we're going to cover the farming aspects of the game. So let's get right into it. Early on you'll get a quest to give you the recipe for the small planter box. So once you get that done, you'll farm, build one, and for farming you'll plant your farm box down, pop your seed in, fertilize it. And that will cover the entirety of the farming in this game. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. See ya! Okay, joking aside, you obviously can tell this is a longer video. And yes, you can absolutely play the game like I just described it. But there's a bit more complexity to it, so let's get into the farming system here. Starting with the planter boxes. There are, as you can see, two types. Small and large. Now, I did cover a little bit about what I was talking about with the small ones. Those are going to be something you'll get as a recipe from Emily very early on in the game. She'll say, hey, we got these recipes, we want to test them out. Can you make this for it? And here's the fertilizer and some seeds and just, grow stuff for me and then make some more for me. That is your tutorial on the farming system in the game. So the game covers it pretty well. So, yep, as you can see, they require, normally without perks, 3 wooden boards, 3 pieces of soil, and 2 things of animal feces. And with perks, obviously, you can see it's going to cost the same amount, unless I do them in big batches, because I can make 7 right now. But we'll just make 1 again. And those are your small planter boxes. Those are for specific seeds, most of which you'll buy from Granny Sophie. But these large ones, you're going to actually buy from the church. And let me get some of what we'll need for buying stuff from them to demonstrate. Alright, so sometimes you'll have the church out here preaching and they'll have their box set up, but otherwise you got to go all the way up to the church itself to buy the planters for the larger stuff, as well as most of the seeds. We'll say most. There's 3 places you can get seeds, depending on the type of seed. Most of the seeds for the small planters are going to be at Granny Sophie's. There are 2 types that you can get from the church for the small planter, as well as most of the large planter seeds, and the large planters themselves. And then finally, the mysterious man or Master Salesman, whatever you want to call him, shows up and you can get certain seeds from him. So, all of this, except for these last 2 items here, are farming related. And, this side is just that there. So, but you can see, these don't cost goals. These mostly cost data disks, and these ones here cost the small silicon chips, which is why I got them. So, the large planter boxes will have twice as much fertilizer containment as what they can do, but there's also these seeds here, these 5 seeds, plus the 1 you can get from Mysterious Salesman, are the only seeds that can be planted in the large boxes. You can't plant more of the small seed ones. So, let's say, hey, I want to buy some sisal seeds. 1 silicon chip for 5 seeds. Same thing for the rainbow flowers. And each of these are tree seeds. And we'll get into those a little bit better. Finally, you have these here, irrigation flooring and irrigation towers. These are used, basically you'll put the flooring down, and we'll buy a few of those to demonstrate this. And the irrigation tower, I have one already, but we'll buy one as well to demonstrate this. And you know what? Let's get a large seed while we're here, and we'll get the Crystella tree seed, which is probably the best of the seeds here. And you know what? We'll get 1 of each. Just so we can demonstrate all the different seeds. So, those are those seeds. Now, farming has a number of uses while we're running to Granny Sophie's to look at the other seeds. unlike Harvestella, where your farming is pretty much just for food, you have things in here that you're going to use for crafting as well, like actual crafting. For example, you'll have cotton seeds over here at Granny Sophie's that are used to make all kinds of stuff, including rope, your various cloth kind of things. So it's not just food, but Granny Sophie's, all her seeds are pay for goals, and they're pretty cheap. You can see 4, 8. You know, cornballs are a little more expensive at 96. Same with the chili peppers. But we'll grab 5 of each of everything just to say, hey, we got them all. Pretty sure I have them all already, but let's just get it out of the way. So, some of these, like Harvestella, can be used for food, like lettuce is a good one for food. Bamboo papaya can be used in crafting. But like the lettuce specifically I was talking about was like for feed for your livestock. So, and you can use a bunch of these for that purpose as well. They have different growth points things. Just check out my livestock guide from a couple weeks ago. All right, and boom, we have all the seeds. So, what does all of this mean? Well, let's take a look as we come back home, and we'll put down some of these irrigation stuff here, and our planters on top of them. Got a big open space back this way. So, what it means, and it's really useful for the irrigation stuff. We'll put those down first. These will basically keep your crops, like whatever you put, like if you say I want to put a planter on here, which I'm not lining it up very well. But say, I put the planters on these, and then these will keep fertilized as long as there's fertilizer in the irrigation tower, which I need to get more of my things out. And there's my cats wrestling with each other. Alright, so here we go, there's more of those. And we'll grab these as well, because that's the last type of seed. That last seed is the one that is sold by the mysterious man or the masked salesman, whatever you want to call him. So yes, you can see you're going to need a lot of these. If I want to fit this on here, boom, that's going to take up all that space just for that one. But okay, we'll put the small planter box here. And we'll put the irrigation tower there so it connects on that. Check the status of it. Apply 30 fertilizer. Alright, so these are the crops, and you'll notice as we come over to these ones, like this one was fully fertilized. You check on my status and it's full yellow there. If I check on these, you can see, oh, okay, that's a different thing. There's, do I have any that aren't happy right now? Doesn't look like it, unless they're up top, maybe. You'll see either a red face, like a frowny face, or a green smiley face, and no, these are all harvested. And these are all happy. So, basically, fertilizer has 2 statuses. Unhappy and happy. So let's try putting in a crop here. We'll do these, the special giant seeds. As it says, it's for growing a type of giant vegetable, which is a shoo-in for the autumn festival. This one is most important for the happiness cycle, but even the others it's helpful. So let's pop some of these in here. Bamboo papaya, since I'm in summer. I'll pop this in. Sow my seed. And you can see, okay, it's unhappy right now. That's that red frowny face. Now, I can fertilize this. And you can see it takes a lot of fertilizer for this. These ones also eat through fertilizer much faster. Different crops will eat through their fertilizer faster. Your small ones can hold 3 fertilizers. Your big ones can hold 6 fertilizers. They have basically 100 points per fertilizer, so 300, 600 points. Do that here as well, bamboo papaya. 1, 2, 3. And you'll see this little green arrow at the bottom. That's your happiness point. If you have fertilizer that puts it above the fertilizer, that happiness point, and so it's happy, then you will get double crops. However, with the giant special seeds, or the special giant seeds, what crop you get out of it is determined by how much of the growth cycle it was in the happiness zone. Which is why for these ones, it's so important to get the irrigation flooring working properly. Pick this up a little bit. Put down some more layers for that. But so you have different sizes. You'll have like large, colossal, king, etc. The longest thing, and there's a chart, and we'll take a look at it here in a little bit on the wiki, determines what the size is. And the size determines your chances of winning the competition at the end of fall, the fall festival. Which we cannot see right now, I don't think. Oh. Calendar. Oh, yes, we can. Here it is. There it is, the 20th. The Autumn Festival. The Autumn Festival competition. Yeah. There's one year you absolutely cannot make first place. The best you can do is second place. And that's the year after you've done the Pumpkin Princess quest with Emily. Every other year, if you get the king ranked one, you'll be very likely to get first place. Different ones will get different points based on what it is, based on what time of year. But they take a long, long time to grow. So you can see these actually don't say. But different crops have different things. So, apple tree seeds fully grown after 28 days, another 12 days to get fruit and harvest. Fully grown after 5 days and harvest, etc. This unusual seed, this one does not say. But it's usually a good chunk of the season. Yeah, like 3 weeks or something like that, or 18 days. We'll take a look again at the exacts on that when we pop to the wiki here later on. But yeah, there's the basics of it. And, well, what do you get from the crops? Like I said, Harvestella, your crops are basically for making food. Stardew, you can make artisan goods and so on with it. But what can you do in Portia? Well, it's going to depend on the crop. Starting with the tree seeds, there are 5 trees, and I've got one of each here. So, starting over here, we have apples and apricots. These are going to be, apple trees. Oh, here, it's going to pop us some apples here in a little bit. And it's happy. And these will give you apples and aroma apples. There's a possibility for those. Your apricot tree will give you just apricots. Now, these two have a lot of recipes in common. There's a lot of recipes that just, have a fruit item, even kind of fruit item. Some of them would be like something sugary, which apricots have for it, and I think apples as well. And you can see, okay, once it's ready to harvest, it starts glimmering and all that. We click E, and I got some apples and aroma apples. These are absolutely great. Your best stamina regeneration item in the game is the dried apple rings. Apricots are either the best or the worst. And the reason I say that is there are only 3 recipes in the game that call specifically for apricots. 2 of them are apricot juice and dried apricot, which are low, restore SP ones. I think it's 10 or 24, depending on which it is. Which, again, apples are more readily available, and you can dry them without needing sugar, which you need for the dried apricot, to get a percentage-based one. So early game, apricots are really much better for it until you have a lot more SP. Late game, the 8% is much better for the dried apples. But one of the things that apricots are great for is There's one specific recipe if you have Axe recipes unlocked in his cooking that uses an apricot that has a permanent increase of +1 to your max hit points. At which point, once you've got Axe, at the level that he's doing the cooking and you've given him the chip, which I believe is cooking chip number 5, then yes, absolutely apricots become available. Your next two are going to be your niter tree and your zeolora tree, or nitro tree. These give you niter and zeolite respectively, which they both only have really one or two recipes for them, but they're good, important recipes. I think the zeolite is used for concrete, which you're going to need a lot of, especially once you get to about the halfway point of the game. Once you're building up the bridge and across to the T-Fall Desert, and you're building up the harbor and so on, you're going to have a lot of recipes that need concrete. So that one's useful to have. Niter is used for two things. Gunpowder, which is okay, but also pigment. And you can get, I think, all of these recipes. Actually, I think gunpowder is over here at... Yeah, gunpowder is used at your table. But the others two that I mentioned, the concrete and all that, are done at your blender, which I think I left up here. Yeah. So, let's see, apricot juice, you can see, 10 stamina. But pigments, use the rainbow flowers for with niter. You're going to need a lot of these for things like quality leather. I think paint is something you can make later on for coloration and so on. Concrete uses soil and resin, so these are things you can have easy access to. So yeah, absolutely, those are useful. Your final one is an odd one, the Crystella tree. Now, this one takes 8 days to grow and then an 8 days harvest cycle, so this is one of the quicker of the trees. And what it's going to give you is crystals, the same kind of stuff that you get from the little crystal fragments off of Amber Island. But there's also a chance to get rubies or sapphires. Sapphires are a little higher rank percentage chance. And like I said, if you keep the trees happy, then it increases your chances for like double harvests and extra stuff and so on. Let me go sleep, and we will continue with the rest of the crops. Because it's already a late day. Yep, this is my file that I'm married to Ginger. Go to sleep. Alright. Nope, we're not talking to her today. So, rest of the crops. Your rest of your crops are different. They all go in the small planner. But, while these are all seasons, and while your giant crop over here is, changes what it is, like this one became a bamboo papaya. If I grow it, certain seasons, like I've got on the stream file, I planted one at the start of fall, and we're getting a giant layered carrots. So it's a mixed seed, and it grows whatever it is in season. But you have to have it grown for the whole season. Just like in Stardew, you cannot grow things across seasons. So, for example, Sissel can only be grown in autumn. If I plant this late in autumn, and again, it takes 9 days to grow, then if I don't, once it's fully grown, I can harvest it and all that, and it's fine. But if I try to plant it, let's go try that up here, actually. Since I have the cotton ones are available. Just like Stardew, it won't let me harvest, plant them out of season. They won't grow out of season. They'll end up just being like, oh, you gotta take them out. So, it does let me sow that. But it won't, wrong season. That is not going to grow at all. Like even if it was partially grown, it'll just freeze. It's wrong season, so I have to root that out. Yep. And you just get that plant fiber back. So you don't get your seeds back when you try to root it out. So be sure on that. As for everything else, these are all mostly used outside of like the tree seeds. Like I said, for food, there are absolutely ones like the cotton seed and the sisal seed that are used for crafting purposes to get you cotton and uh, it's not thread. Let's go take a look. The sisal makes drawing a blank of what it's called. Let's see. Linen, I think. Yeah, you get linens from it. It says it get you sisal, but it's linen, is what it's actually called. So your sisal rope seeds, which only grow in autumn, you get your linen to make the linen rugs. Yeah, flower carpets can use pigments. Quality leather requires pigments. You know, rope requires cotton, as does cloth. So you'll absolutely be using some of these things for your actual crafting recipes. You know, hey, you're going to need rope. You're going to need a lot of rope, actually, which I could stand to make more of. For certain things like the wooden beam, I think it's called. Let's see if it's here, if it's a thing. Do. Is it right here? Or is it one I craft at the workbench or the work table? It might be one of these. Let's see. But like when you're crafting the bridges, they'll have like supports that you need to make and so on. Things that will require rope, which will require so on. And you can check the wiki to see, hey, well, what all does this need to be made for? So speaking of the wiki, let's switch on over. All right, so here we are on the farming page of the wiki. And as you can see, we talked about the fertilizer, irrigation tower, irrigation flooring, so on. There is a perk, Farm Guru, in your gathering tree, your middle tree, that can increase your production, like 10% per rank. It's okay if you go all in on farming and you're like, hey, I need to do this. I want lots of cotton. I want lots of rainbow flowers. I want lots of crystals, whatever. This increases, gives you a 40% chance to get extra production and so on at max rank. But, all right, so here we are. Here's all the things. And you can see, okay, what do they all give? Some of them, let's scroll that, have additional drops. So most of them, like small crop ones, it's going to be seeds for that kind of thing. But then you can see things like here. I was talking, you know, 60% chance for a crystal, 30% chance for a sapphire, 1% chance for ruby. But additionally, you have a 100% chance for 18 crystals and 50% chance for one sapphire from the Crystella seed, and so on. So those are all well and nice. But let's get to, there we go, the special giant seed. This is what I was talking about with this. The happiness thing is most important for this, where the percentage of the time that it's kept happy will get you these different sizes. So large, great, giant, colossal, king. The king will almost always win you the prize at the Autumn Festival. Large and great will almost never get you the wins. And what the points that you're going to get from it, most likely, is also based on, well, what type of crop it is. So, for example, pumpkins, potato fruits, and layered carrots are absolutely great ones. So, the fact that we're getting a layered carrot on the stream is a good sign if I can keep it happy long enough to be king. There's definitely some time that it fell below, so it might only get colossal, which does suck, but it is what it is. First year is your highest chance of winning. But yeah, you can see it consumes 120 fertilizer points per day and requires a minimum of 450 to be happy. Remember, the large things hold 600 points. So you're basically going to be putting a fertilizer on that thing every single day for 22 days. So, absolutely a thing to worry about. And of course, there's the apple trees as well. You can get an apple tree for 50 days. But that's the only one that's repeatable. All these others are single harvests, which gets back to what I was talking about. All your small ones, every single crop in the small harvest thing is a single harvest crop. Now, your multiple harvest crops are most of the ones for the large one. The special giant seed is only a multi-crop one if you get an apple tree out of it. Every other one is going to be, normal, single or a multi-harvest because they're trees and they just regrow every 2 days. And yeah, that is basically it. Not a lot to the system. It's very simple to understand, but there's a lot of intricacies that you can get down and deep into what it does. Um, and yeah, you can see the irrigation tower, irrigation flooring. You know, we go back into the game, and we saw that hey, it's automatically fertilizing. So I had to fertilize them on the first day, but they're still going to keep going as long as it's on the flooring and so on. So you don't need to water anything in this game. You just need to keep it fertilized, and most crops don't need fertilized every day. How much fertilizer they use per day will vary from crop to crop. 120 for the apricot trees, 50 for the zaloras, 120 for the apples, 120 for nitras, 50 for most of your small crops, and so on. And so it's like every other, as long as you fertilize every other day for your small crops, you're usually pretty good. And the only thing that matters for those for happiness is the final, like right before they're harvested, um, which gives you a chance to double what you get. Now, if you're more concerned about profits, you can absolutely come down here and see, well, what is it profit per day? Your most profitable for your small single ones are going to be rainbow flowers, layered carrots, lettuce, etc. Whether you're doing paying for your fertilizer or if you're making your own. Your multiple harvests, your Cristellas are going to be the best profit per day, followed by Zeolora, Nitro, etc. If you're going to sell the raw ingredients, but don't just sell the raw ingredients. It's always better, we'll say almost always, to, make something out of them. That's, like turn stone into bricks and so on. So absolutely, make something out of your layered carrots. Make a good food item. Find out what profits if you want to do it for making money. And of course, like I said in my tips guide, only sell on good heart on high cost days. But yeah, that covers the farming of this game. Like I said, it is much simpler than other games, but there's a lot of complexity to it that it doesn't really reveal to you. It just kind of, yeah, you can just, like I said, from at the start, you can just go make the thing, plant the seed, fertilize it, and go. And you can do that, but if you want the in depth, there it is. There is definitely information here. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I kind of did the joke about that earlier, but yeah, it absolutely helps me make better content for you guys. And in the meantime, I will see you next time. See ya!